And for our forum participants, we have Ms. Renee Dixon. And Board of Education member, Mr. William Malish. So to start off our forum, you guys have seen in the first section, you know how this is going to go. Our panelists are going to ask our forum candidates a question. They have 60 seconds to answer. They'll get a 15-second warning before that 60 seconds is up, and then they'll get the red flag, as you all have seen throughout this program here. So to get started, I'm going to give each of the candidates the opportunity to introduce themselves. They'll have 60 seconds to introduce themselves, starting with Ms. Renee Dixon.
Well, thank you for having us tonight. This is a great opportunity. Back in early December of 2021, a young man was at school in the morning and he was followed into the bathroom and brutally beaten up. We'll call this man Sam. He was beaten up by one of his classmates while another classmate videoed it and put it on Facebook. I'm a lifelong resident of Cecil County. I have been teaching children for the past 40 years. Protecting Sam and children like him are only one of the things that I want to do as a school board member. While serving the families of Cecil County, I promise to advocate for child safety and security, quality education, parental, student, and teachers' rights, curriculum transparency, American history taught in every classroom, including the Constitution of the United States. Politics should be kept out of the classroom and age-appropriate learning.
Thank you, and thank you for having me and doing this here. I'm going to talk about basically my qualifications before I get into this thing. I've been a lifelong resident of Cecil County, 45 years. I've raised my children here, and my children are graduates of CCPS. Both of my children are school teachers. My wife is currently a guidance counselor with the system. I taught for 34 years. I love my role as a school board member, best board in the state of Maryland. I look forward to serving you for another 4 years, and I am aware of the challenges facing public education, which have only been complicated by the pandemic over the last 2 years. In this turmoil, I am committed to serving every student at all various backgrounds to making sure that we do an outstanding job educating the kids that we can, and also to honor my pledge to follow the state and the state of Maryland's regulations and laws.
Mr. Malish, what is the amount of the current fiscal year 22 Cecil County Public Schools operating budget? What percentages of total revenue are attributed to the federal, state, and Cecil County governments?
Okay, kind of answered that already a little bit. Our budget is about $240 million right now. It includes a lot of federal money thrown in there too. The state of Maryland pays about 50% of our budget. Cecil County is paying about 37. The federal government pays about 13, and there's little things like fees for using schools, things like that to come in. But that's the basic percentage of how the school system budget works. We're like the 6th or 7th lowest funded school system in the state of Maryland with this budget from what's coming from our county. And we need to really work on that. We need to have a lot of cooperation between the county government and us to maintain as emotional support centers for these kids. Coming back from COVID, we've had more people in emotional support than ever before. And it's one of the things on the chopping block. If we don't have more money, those kids can't afford it. My wife's a guidance counselor. These kids come to her with all kinds of problems. Living at home for 2 years, parents may have been home, parents may not have been home. We sent 4 million meals out there this year, or in the last 2 years.
I know that 37% is paid by Cecil County. I know that part. It is like 240 million comes down from the government. But again, yes, that money is important, and we need to know how much money we're getting from each area, but then we need to learn to live within that amount of money that is given to us, and we need again to learn to think outside the box. Raising people's taxes is not the way to fund the schools more. It's using the resources that we have available to us through the federal government, through our county government, but it's thinking outside the box so that we can do the best for our children without burdening our citizens again with higher taxes.
Ms. Dixon, what do you perceive are the most positive aspects of Cecil County Public Schools, and what do you perceive are the greatest challenges? You have 60 seconds.
I think that our teachers really care about our students, and I think that's very, very important. I think that the challenges are parents feeling comfortable with their children going to school. I mean, we have all of the safety violations going on all over the country now. We do have bullies. I think the bullying in the school system is a very, very serious problem. I think that teachers should be able to teach their children and not have to babysit. So I believe that we need to be tougher on crime. And bullying is a crime. And when children bully other students, they need to know that there are consequences. Now, I totally understand that probably these children that are bullying others have their own mental problems going on, and these kids need help. We need to help them, but they also need to know that they have consequences.
Okay, I think the positive aspects of Cecil County Public Schools are the fact that we have a staff of 1,300 teachers that are highly dedicated. And it's been very challenging during these times. We have emotional support for the teachers as well as the kids. This has been very difficult times, and we have come to it. We have actually been able to take the kids that have fallen behind and raise them back up to close to standards at a rate faster than almost any county in the state of Maryland. We have rolled up our sleeves and done a lot of positive things. We have a leadership team that is very creative, works constantly to save us money, as well as create new programs. I cannot tell you the number of new programs that have come down to deal with the difficulties of COVID. The challenges, well, right now we have a fair number of financial challenges, and the challenges of school security. We need to get the rest of those entrances so that it's a double entrance to get into the school, as well as making sure we have cameras functional in every school and every bus that the police can see what's happening in the school when they drive up 24/7. And we have most of those in place already. We need to finish that as a challenge. We need to also make sure our SROs are in every school. They mostly are.
Mr. Malish, what is the role of the Superintendent of Schools? And how does Dr. Lawson's responsibilities differ with the Board of Education's?
Well, Dr. Lawson always kids that we're his only employee, and that's because we hire and fire the superintendent. Other than that, he's in charge of personnel, he's in charge of working through budgets with the leadership team, he's in charge of communication, and this guy's a great communicator to keep all the teachers in line, to keep all the parents in a position where they can talk to him and he's a very open communicator. He's the kind of person that can deal with a problem again and again and again. Just to save a little bit of money, we're having kids sign up to ride the bus. They could normally be bus riders, but we know they'll use their car. Please sign off of that so we can save a little bit of money on the buses. He is in everything we do. He talks to every school. He's out at every school. He has discussions on the good, bad, and difference in every school. And you will not find someone, he communicates with us just as well. That's why we have such a close-knit team, and it's a problem-solving team. We are constantly solving problems that other counties cannot do. They call us, what did you do? At me, what did you do? All the time. We get compliments, and they say, we wish our board was like this.
As a Board of Education member, you are one of 5 and have no individual authority to act upon or speak for the board unless granted by the majority of members. How will you ensure the other members that you will work in a collaborative manner and be constructive and respectful while presenting and listening to others' views?
Well, that's a really easy question. As I said, we have the best board in the state of Maryland, and I work with Maeve, with all the presidents of all the boards. Some of them argue till 4 in the morning. We get along completely. We work with our superintendent. Our meetings are constructive. And in the 3 years I was president, there was not one vote that came before the Board of Education that was not unanimous. So all 5 of our members together. We are a team that work together. The best part of this job is working with these people that are completely dedicated to the children of Cecil County. It's really good.
I have been running my own business, Rolling Hills Ranch, riding lessons for everyone, for the past 40 years, as well as being executive director for Freedom Hills Therapeutic Riding Program. Every month, well, every day, I have to answer to a board of directors with Freedom Hills Therapeutic Riding Program. That alone brings in a lot of teamwork. I am a team player. Anybody who knows me knows how much of a team player that I am. I've also been on many committees, such as Professional Association for Therapeutic Horsemanship. I've helped start the Maryland Council for Equestrian Therapies program in the in the state of Maryland. So I belong to the Maryland Horse Industry Board. I can give you a long list of places where I have been a team player.
Ms. Dixon, what is the role of the Superintendent of Schools? How do Dr. Lawson's responsibilities differ with the Board of Education's?
From what I understand, the Board of he basically works for the Board of Education, that the Board of Education sets guidelines for him, as well as the state of Maryland, but then it's Dr. Lawson's job to follow through with the guidelines that are set before him.
Well, Dr. Lawson always kids that we're his only employee, and that's because we hire and fire the superintendent. Other than that, he's in charge of personnel, he's in charge of working through budgets with the leadership team, he's in charge of communication, and this guy's a great communicator to keep all the teachers in line, to keep all the parents in a position where they can talk to him and he's a very open communicator. He's the kind of person that can deal with a problem again. Just to save a little bit of money, we're having kids sign up to ride the bus that would normally be bus riders, but we know they'll use their car. Please sign off of that so we can save a little bit of money on the buses. He is in everything we do. He talks to every school. He's out at every school. He has discussions on the good, bad, and the difference in every school. And you will not find someone, he communicates with us just as well. That's why we have such a close-knit team, and it's a problem-solving team. We are constantly solving problems that other counties cannot do. They call us, what did you do? At me, what did you do? All the time. We get compliments, and they say, we wish our board was like this.
Mr. Malish, each year the county government's budget process refers to maintenance of effort in relation to funding proposed for Cecil County Public Schools. What is maintenance of effort, and how does the state and county arrive at the amount of maintenance of effort?
Well, really, that's partly legislative. They have a formula there for the number of kids we have and certain types of children we have, and they come up with a formula. Now, we have really never been funded quite as low as we have with this maintenance effort. We always had maintenance effort plus. And when they give us this kind of budget, which is a $240 million budget, 37% of it is coming from the county. And we need $4 or $5 million increase every year just to match our teacher contracts to try to give them some kind of 2 or 3% pay raise. And we're under contractual law to do that. So maintenance effort has to be improved a little bit, and we're going to have to add a little bit of money just to survive in this system. We don't want to cut teachers. $1 million cut out of that 240 is 15 positions we have to cut. And guess what? Those teachers live in Cecil County. They pay taxes in Cecil County. They pay real estate, income tax. You're taking away from yourself when we have to lay off teachers. And it's not good for the kids to increase class size and that kind of stuff. It's very important to maintain a solid budget to let us grow. And emotional problems are big time right now. We have emotional problems.
Well, I think thanks to Mr. Mullis, he's already told you about the budget, so I don't have to go over the numbers for you. But what I would like to say is that I think that we need to think outside of the box. Absolutely, there are children out there who need mental health professionals. I believe that those children could go to their guidance counselor, and maybe the guidance counselor does the intake part of it. But then we could call on other other organizations, such as Key Point and Upper Bay, to come into our schools and then do the counseling. Upper Bay and Key Point are already funded by the government to do this. So that could be something that would save the school board money, but give the children the help that they need. Thinking outside the box is the key.
Mr. Malish, how will you demonstrate by your actions that you are a true champion of all public school students?
Well, I think the programs and the success rates you see in all students in Cecil County and all the minority groups, if you take a look at the statistics, we're doing very well. We're doing better than almost all counties in graduation rates for minorities. And we have about 40% of the students on farms, which means they're needy academically and as well as financially. So, as I said, we've been feeding them 4 million meals in the last 2 years, and you will find that we actually supplied tutoring during the pandemic when the kids were home. We had online tutoring. We even had 2 kids coming into school for face-to-face tutoring to make sure these kids didn't get lowered in the bottom. Now, our academics, for the kids that are high performers, multi-million dollars of scholarships have gone out at the end of the year. We have kids getting millions of dollars scholarships around the country for the performances they've done and what we've done in the school system. We send these kids to an early college program where they can actually perform successfully, complete 2 years of college.
I believe that all children are created equally under God. I believe that every student should be taught to their full potential. I believe right now that too many students are given a victim mentality that they can't learn. What do I want to say? Sorry. That they can't reach their potential. And we need to be teaching children that they can reach their potential no matter what their education, what their surroundings are, where they come from, that every child should be pushed, not coddled to be able to reach their potential.
Thank you, and that concludes our question portion for the Board of Education Forum participants. Our candidates will now have 30 seconds to offer some closing remarks, and we'll start with Mr. William Malish.
Thank you. I am so proud to be a member of this Board of Education. I have never worked with people so dedicated to children as I have in the last 8 years in this board. Amazing group of people. They have solved problems that other counties have not. The fact that other counties didn't have graduations, we had graduations. Other counties didn't have proms, we had proms. Other counties didn't have spectators, we had spectators in our sports. These are great problem solvers, and I appreciate being with them, and hopefully you can find in your hearts this. Let me continue this job.
I am very fortunate to have the opportunity to run for school board. I'm looking forward to winning because that's what I do now. Anyway, I am endorsed by and the informed choice of Maryland for partnership with Standing for Health and Freedom. I am your conservative voice, and again, I will stand up for child safety and security. I will be your parental, student, and teacher's right, and I will be your voice for your children.
And thank you to our Board of Education Forum participants. Let's give them one last round of applause.